Good afternoon, everyone. By now, you've probably seen the massive ship that's magically stuck in the middle of the Suez Canal. How stuck? Bow and stern both lodged into a seemingly incredibly easy to transit straight canal. And you have to wonder truly how that happened. Ships are detouring around Africa already, freight prices rising. If you look at the number of ships March 19th waiting to go through the canal compared to March 26th, it is a parking lot and there's no overwatch. So much jammed up there. Could be a catalyst for something else. I believe it's the launch point for the new financial crisis. Choke point, it is indeed. Norway understands its own choke point, setting a maritime channel through its mountains. Nord Stream bypassing another choke point, naughty. And these countries in the darkest of green, with the world's largest natural gas resources, are trying to go around choke points also, but every time they do, seems to be a problem. The Biden administration and Democrats in Congress are wasting no time in their efforts to reset the direction of America's future. The Wall Street Journal estimates that of the $1.7 trillion stimulus bill, only $825 billion was directly related to COVID, and it's estimated that 2021 will include another $3 trillion in stimulus money printing, bringing the total to $6.3 trillion in 2020 and 2021 alone. And that's why you'll instantly understand when Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs both say it's the time to buy gold. It's time to heed that advice. Patriot Gold Group has the No Fee for Life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the No Fee for Life IRA. So go ahead and give the folks at Patriot Gold Group a call to discuss physical gold and silver. And the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer 5 years in a row from 2016 until present. Click the link in the description box below for more information. And now on with the video. And as you move through the web news, this article is front and center. So many ramifications from rising oil prices, rising shipping rates, delay of shipments, and all around, how did this thing get stuck in one of the most transited, easy to transit canals on the planet? And not only is this thing stuck, it is absolutely wedged in there. It didn't just sort of like run aground. It was almost full speed with the thrusters off the bow slamming it in. At the same time, the thrusters off the stern were slamming it into the other side. Random at best, weird at a glance, unexplainable in the forefront, unless it's purposeful. How bad is the traffic jam at the Suez Canal? It just depends on how deep it is in the bow and stern. They're talking about, well, the mechanics of a floating ship are quite different in buoyancy than something grounded like this. And if they do start to remove cargo containers, it could tip over or break in half. That would be a months, plural, long salvage operation, which would reinvent global transport and global finance as much as COVID has reinvented your life. So if you want instant change of some types of logistics, supply chains, that would do it right here. I've been calling a market crash in April for months now. This is the perfect catalyst. Explains everything. Your rising food prices, hiked oil prices, inavailability of supplies, inavailability of your food, inavailability of your oil, inavailability of everything. And there's a huge, gigantic other second excuse above COVID for all these changes we're seeing. Wham! Right in the middle of the Suez Canal. It was an accident. Look how wedged it is. And on oilprice.com, you can watch the prices in futures contracts surge by the minute, as well as the tanker rates, because they're now going to divert and go right around Southern Africa. But look at this. Tanker rates have almost doubled since this began a few days back. And also the Black Sea up to the Mediterranean, fuel shipping rates jumping, Black Suez Canal. So everywhere you're looking, Europe's going to get smashed by this first and foremost. And the question then is, how long before these delays start to ripple through the economy? I'm going to say another 6 days or under, and you're going to see all types of news about contractions, shortages, rationing. I wonder if we're going to go back to the 1970s types of fuel lines and gas stations. Because word through the maritime channels is divert your ships right now. You got to go around Africa. They're not even second guessing that this canal is going to be open in time for them to run around Africa. Okay, they might talk about one thing in the news, that this thing might be fixed by Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. But when the real maritime companies tell their ships to divert and spend an extra 6 to 9 days going around the Cape down there, and those seas are incredibly rough. They're going into winter down in the southern hemisphere, so you're looking at 60-foot seas. Imagine that much shipping traffic trying to run through some of the roughest seas on the planet, transiting down across through South Africa down there. How many maritime disasters are waiting to happen if you're going to get that much traffic going across? But if this is the message here that maritime companies are already saying, well, there's no chance that that thing's going to be open, that we're going to run around Africa for a guaranteed delivery versus a maybe possible delivery going through the Suez Canal, that's a game changer already. Versus what the news is reporting with the Rosie, it'll be done by Wednesday. And another thing nobody's talking about is Overwatch in the Gulf here. Red Sea, March 19th, there's a few ships stacked up. That's the normal waiting in line to transit through the canal. But look at the difference in March 26th. Now, the thing is, there's no Overwatch going on here. You can run as many low-level flights over to do reconnaissance as you want on those singular ships waiting out there. Transponders are on. You know where they're all at. But this kind of stacked up mess right here, that's why rescue dogs have an incredibly difficult time in a huge, gigantic building collapse when, 500-600 people in there versus trying to find one person. It's the same exact thing. These are called choke points. Blockage of the Suez Canal actually showing us the Achilles heel of these types of choke points. Another one, Malacca Straits between Indonesia and Malaysia. Strait of Hormuz would be another one with the exports of oil right out of Saudi Arabia. And if you get down at the bottom of the Red Sea there, the Gulf of Aden is that little tiny pinch point with Aden port in Yemen as well. Risks, yes. The world's relied on this just-in-time delivery. It's functioned up to this point. And you notice there's a lot of breakdowns and things that functioned up to this point. Central banking, money printing, just-in-time delivery, and then suddenly in this last year, it's all broken down, all of it. And then we have another breakdown within a breakdown on the set of on top of breakdown jet again. It's too coincidental for me even to believe that it was just random that it happened. With all this going on from last year, the Great Reset talked about, and then this thing happens, this is a reset of the economy waiting to happen. These major shipping routes that are being blocked, what happens now if there is a major sinking of a super container out off of Namibia or South Africa, something coming off of Mozambique or Madagascar up that direction? Then what? Oh, wait, you got to stop there. What if they stop that shipping because the seas are too rough? You get 80, 90-foot seas. We're expecting stronger storms in the grand solar minimum, and they're going to transit around. All these thousands of super tankers, thousands of container ships are going to go around the roughest seas on the planet, and you expect nothing to happen during that time, going into winter, into the roughest sea condition in the entire year. You might have a 1,000-foot super tanker rolling through there, but the ocean at 60, 80-foot waves going sideways against where you're trying to move. Good luck. You've seen an enormous amount of videos where giant rogue waves breaking over the bows of ships. And because of all these choke points, there's a lot of countries that are saying, wait a second, choke point, we're going to create our own secondary route for our own products out of our nations to other markets. Nord Stream's a good example of that. But that leaves the countries in the naughty league for going around the SWIFT system. And speaking of choke points, they can be large or small. Now, an example here in Norway, they're going to construct a tunnel straight through a mountain. It looks like 162 feet tall, 118 feet wide, because the seas to the west there are incredibly rough. The Statendep Peninsula, some of the roughest waters around Norway, just like it's some of the roughest waters on the planet around southern Africa there. They want to transit straight through. That way they can keep passenger ferry traffic going all year round, where they need to suspend it when the water gets rough. In the exact same example, when the water gets rough off of southern Africa, how much shipping traffic can truly make it around there? That should be the question at this time of the year. If anything happens to that ship, breaks, falls over something, and they're talking about months plural delay, and that ship traffic does need to go around there during the wintertime, all of our lives are going to instantly change once that announcement is made. But you'll see the same thing. The coastline outside the peninsula is the most stormy sea area in Norway. And the overlapping parallel of this in Norway and the southern oceans are stark. But I did want to bring you over here to the natural gas reserves. The darkest green countries have the largest natural gas proven reserves on the planet. And both these countries want to run different pipelines and different routes around the choke points that are in place right now. And guess what? Both of those are in the ultra naughty club, are they not? Just so happens. That's another random happenstance. I don't think so. Strange World 2021. I'll be out getting a few extra gas cans and filling up a little bit extra fuel myself. But at the same time, food. Do you have any emergency food supplies stored in your house? What if you bought extra food and you want to pack it yourself? Do you have the Mylar bags, the oxygen packs? All this is available at My Patriot Supply, along with ADAPT 2030. That link's in the description box below. Everything you need to get yourself more prepared for these changes that are right in front of us right here, right now. And as well as that link to My Patriot Supply, all the links to tonight's stories so you can follow up and get up-to-the-minute information on oil prices and where the shipping's going and what's happening with the salvage operations. All that's right at your fingertips, too, so you can do your own analysis on top of the general information I gave you here. I really do hope this passes quickly, but if it doesn't, it's going to be the next on the layer cake of change that we're seeing through these years here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.